First off, I just want to say, don't worry about how I look right now. I know I'm a mess. My hair's all over the place. But I thought this video was really, really important. So I woke up, I made it, and here it is, okay? I really do think this is important because I am realizing now after talking to several clients that people have the wrong idea of coldness, right? Or when to use it, the pros and cons of it, and things like that. So that's what this video is going to be about. A little more on being cold, the pros and cons of doing so, when to do it, so on and so forth, okay? So jumping right into this. Here's the thing, ladies. Being cold is not a strategy, okay? It's like, it's more of a like a last resort type of thing. And you never want to do it. You never want to do it when things are going well or things. Now, you might be like, well, yeah, Elliot, that's pretty common sense. You'll be surprised on how much you're doing it, though. So let me give you an example. I have a client who, she's probably watching this, I just answered her email, who went on a date with a guy who paid a lot for a dinner. A lot for a dinner. And she said, today's Monday, Tuesday. And she says, I haven't heard from the guy since Friday. What's going on? And I'm like, he just paid for a, hundreds of dollars, very expensive dinner. No, he needs to hear from you. That's how it works. Like, it's all power dynamics, right? It's a bunch of shifting. When a relationship is going well, you see it effortlessly shift back and forth. Now, when you have a problem with attraction, maybe one of the guys that you're talking to are emotionally unavailable, or maybe one of you are emotionally unavailable, someone's a manipulator, playing games, not stable, maybe you're crazy, whatever it is, then you're going to, right, here's relationship over here. This is our goal, is to get to a relationship, and this is the start, okay? Now, you all seen me draw this thing constantly where I'm talking about, like, the stages of a relationship. So this is the beginning, or I guess, yeah, the beginning. And I'm not going to write it all out, don't worry. The first date, getting to know each other, sex, and, blah, 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 whatever, and then relationship over here. Now, based on, you two, sorry, I'm grabbing pens, or I'm grabbing things for this. Right now, based on you two, there's power dynamics involved, meaning like, you get the power here because he's courting you, but after sex, he gets the power here, and then you both kind of get the power here, okay? Like when in a relationship. When you are both happy, healthy, loving people who want a relationship, want the same thing, everything's cool, you're emotionally available, you pretty much transition through this pretty effortlessly, okay? Now, when you're talking to someone, maybe a woman who's insecure, okay, well, she's going to slow this down. She's going to want to go backwards on this and kind of like hover here a lot. So she's going to make a guy invest very heavily. She's going to want a lot of validation before putting out for a guy, which I'm not saying that's bad. I'm not saying, oh, just because a woman makes a man work for it, she's insecure. But you get what I'm saying. There is a spectrum. There's a lot of women who really want to slow this down, and there's guys who are just wanting to speed it up, and vice versa. When a guy gets this good shit, he wants to slow it down, okay, because he's benefiting from it, whereas you're wanting to speed it up to this, because this is where you both start benefiting. But like I said, when you're in a happy, healthy, loving relationship, you go through this process pretty easily. Now, what does this all have to do with being cold? In this situation, like down here, when a woman's slowing it down and making a guy invest a lot, that's fine, but there has to be reciprocation, okay? When I tell women to be cold, again, it is a last resort thing. It is the thing you're doing at the very end after trying to make things work, okay, after stating what you want and you're not getting it, meaning I want consistency, I want to be taken out, I want, you know, there to be some depth, some chemistry, or more, not compatibility, but communication, better communication, deeper communication, and he's not giving you that stuff, like he's taking you for granted, he's a little, it's not progressing, well, then a woman needs to step back and, you know, and things like that. You do not do that, though, after a guy pays for a nice expensive date for you, okay? So if this guy pays for this date here, okay, if this guy pays for this date and you're not hearing from him for a while, well, yeah, that's because you need to reach out to him. What I'm getting at is power dynamics are, it's a cycle, okay? It's a cycle, and it works really well. It works really well when both people are on the same page, like each other, and things like that. It doesn't work well when someone's unsure or trying to play a game or manipulate with somebody, which is why it's so powerful. When two people like each other, this cycle just keeps on going. And when it keeps on going, every one of these look like the exchange of power is validation. Validation, okay, if that makes sense. So, for example, if I'm courting you, and I'm courting you a bunch, and I'm still reaching out, I'm paying for these expensive dinners, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm telling you all these amazing things, I'm proving myself, but I'm not getting any reciprocity from it. Well, I'm not getting validation, so, well, guess what? It's gonna stop, okay? It's gonna stop. But if I get validation, okay, it's gonna keep on going, vice versa. So, okay, well, now you give me validation by, let's say, sleeping with me, okay? Well, now you want validation. You don't want me to, like, you don't want to put out and then I'm just like sitting back chilling, you know, blah, whatever. Like, you're going to freak the fuck out. So next time this cycle comes around and you get the power again, you're going to be very hesitant to give it up. Whereas if I'm no different after hooking up with you, I'm still fun, still cool, still calm, collected, you know, like we're having fun, laughing, goofing off, I'm still reaching out to you, you're going to be a happy customer here, okay? You're going to be happy because I'm giving you validation, I'm giving you the things you want, and then the cycle continues. What happens when people are cold, I guess the point of this video is people, a lot of women are cold, and there are pros and cons to being cold. But the pro of it is when you're doing it correctly, you know, and the guy wants the validation but does not deserve it, okay, being cold is clear, or is cool, because now he's like, well, what's going on? What's going on? So that's when it's a pro. It's a con when you do it at the wrong time, which is pretty much like too early, or you're doing it to get like a payback, or you're doing it to get a result. You shouldn't be doing it to get a result, which sounds counterintuitive to what I'm teaching. You know, it's like, well, I do want a result. Like, you've been bad. I'm not gonna like validate that. I'm gonna chill until I get what I want. Yes, it's a result in that sense, but what I mean by this is it's more mechanical, more systematic, Mother Nature. Like, I was telling the client today, I was saying, without structure, there's chaos. It doesn't really matter if you want it or not, right? Or if you want this outcome or that outcome. That doesn't really matter. I mean, it does, but in her bubble. In the grand scheme of things, Mother Nature's eyes, it doesn't. It's very mechanical. You know, if it's like 1 + 1 = 2. If you see a 1, you see a plus sign, you see a 1, it equals 2. What I'm getting at is, if you're not getting courted, I don't give a shit what you want. You shouldn't be reciprocating anything. You shouldn't be giving a guy validation, because that's not how this cycle works. That's when you should be cold. But if you're being cold otherwise, like you're just doing it to do it, you're doing it because you want him to do even more. Now, when I say even more, I mean more than what should be necessary, or what should be considered normal. Like, if he's not communicating with you well and you want better communication, it's okay to do. But if he's doing a really good job, but you still want more, maybe because you're trying to fill a void or insecurity, you know, some deep cognitive bias, whatever, then it's an issue, because now it becomes a liability. And when I talk about liabilities, what I mean by this is, it costs more than what it's worth. So and again, this is going to sound horrible because I don't think a woman should sleep with a man early. I don't think a woman or a man's entitled to a woman's body. I think a man has to earn it, and at the end of the day, it's a woman's say. You know, like it's the final word. But I'm just going to give an example, okay? For love of God, don't attack me here. But if a woman's waiting like 3 months, okay, to sleep with a guy, you know, and he's doing everything right, ladies, don't kill the messenger. Again, I'm talking about Mother Nature. This is a ridiculous, there is nowhere in the animal kingdom where this happens. Nowhere in the animal kingdom where this happens, where a lion has to fight off all these lions for 3 months to get a lioness pregnant. That doesn't happen. That's not a thing. I mean, not that I know of, at least. Maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe there's some species out there, or those things with the fucking, not an antelope, those weird nose, whatever. Maybe they do. I don't know. Some weird ass, ugly ass thing does it. But on average, the assets aren't worth the liabilities of it. It ain't worth the cost. And again, I'm not telling a woman there's anything wrong with holding out. You see plenty of situations where guys will do this, or people will wait until they're married. But that's because the assets are worth the liabilities. Not meaning the woman's worth it, but you value the same thing. You know, you worship a church, or, you know, that's a big reason why that's important, where both people are waiting for. You know, just it's more religious, like whatever, then it's fine. But on average, if the assets aren't worth the cost, okay, and you're being cold because you have this unrealistic expectation, and again, not saying, ladies, you can hold out if you want until marriage. I'm not saying, you know, you can't, but on average, that's not, especially in America, you know, modern day, that's not normal. That's not a thing. Okay, so I feel that there has to be again, it's a power thing. It's all balance. You have to understand. Now I'm getting all over the place. This is a game of risk. I write this every damn time on the board. But what do I mean by this? You probably already know. But we're both trying to avoid pain, seek pleasure. The reason you're doing this is to avoid risk. Whether you think it or not, at the end of the day, when you break it down subconsciously, it's to avoid risk, okay? You really want the man to invest. However, he's picking up a lot of risk because he's investing 3 months, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, am I getting anything? It just starts to build up. It gets, I'm telling you, I've been that guy. It gets really sketchy, where it's like, because there's times where guys have been burned, especially if a guy's been burned in the past. Because every guy, I don't care what you all women say, you guys say we're pigs, every guy has done this at one point and got burned. Every single guy. That's why we're hesitant about it, okay? But again, that's not what this is about. It's about the being cold thing. So if you start to see him pull away because of this, and then you start acting cold, you actually should question, you know, am I being realistic with this? Now, again, it's subjective, because you could say, well, this is my value, this is what I stand for, you know, for religious purposes or for whatever, or I got burnt in the past. Okay, I got you on that. But you still got to kind of weigh this out. There are pros and cons to being cold. But I feel like a lot of women do it wrong. So if you want more information on how to do this, you could, get a session with me. I can literally talk about you and your situation specifically. It's an hour. It's confidential, 100%. We can sit down and break down your situation. Your unique situation. We'll break every single thing down to its finest details. You will leave smiling. You will leave knowing what to do. You'll leave with the clarity he hasn't given you. You'll be better with men and dating, okay? If you want that, link is down below, working with me for 1 hour, or you can get my guides. Again, ladies, link down below. But with all that being said, I love you all. Take care. Don't mind the hair, and that rhymes. And peace.